What's up, YouTube? Cam888 here with a double header for you guys. In my last video, I was talking about a tournament I'm participating in, and today I'm going to post two of those battles from the preliminaries already. Now, for those who didn't know I was going to enter a tournament, here it is. The tournament is hosted by a site I'm a member of, Trophy Garden. We're all proud to be competitive. And in the tournament, in the preliminaries, there are three groups. Now, from Group 1 and Group 2, there will be three people advancing to the finals because we are with more. And from Group 3, there will be two people advancing. So the finals will be with 8 as soon as they start. Now, I'm in Group 2 and I'll have to battle 4 times, and I'll be posting 3 of them since my fourth opponent didn't want me to post the battle. I respect his opinion, so I don't. Now I'll be posting 2 because it's a double header, and my first battle will be against Auron, and Auron's team is this one. I made the team preview myself because PO doesn't support it if you rewatch the battle. Now his team is very threatening to mine. Not too big of a deal, but it can be. Hydreigon is probably choiced or expert belt, one of the two. Conkeldurr is definitely a bulk up set. Jirachi a sport set, I think. Gliscor could be Swords Dance, but it could also be a Toxic Staller. Volcarona is definitely Quiver Dance, and Starmie, in my thoughts, will be the Rapid Spinner. It might have Recover, it might not have, and then it also will have 2 or 3 attacks, so we'll see about that. Since he doesn't have a Weather Inducer, I'll just start off with my Politoed and go from there. Yeah, one thing I do have to mention, I sped the video up, so yeah, so it will go a little bit quicker because else the video will be much too long. So the first thing is that I indeed start my Politoed, and now I'm going to see if he's choiced or not. So I go into my Jirachi, I see the Dark Pulse, followed by the Fire Blast. I know my Politoed can take 2 Draco Meteors from an expert belted version, so I go into him and I kill the Hydreigon after he crits me, which did matter because it negated his special attack drop. Now Starmie comes in and I go into Shaman predicting some Thunderbolt or something. I do predict correct, it wasn't Ice Beam, and then he goes into his Jirachi. Now, Jirachi, I wanted to know what kind of set it was, and it seems that he had the T-Wave, so I'm actually glad, because that's better than Body Slam in my case. I'm always unlucky with that. Gliscor comes in, and I see the Swords Dance set. Skarmory can just whirlwind him out, so that's all good. I whirlwind him into Conkeldurr, and I give him a hefty chunk of damage. Now the Jirachi is going for the Wish right here, and I know since Conkeldurr is damaged, he's going to switch out into that. Skarmory doing what it has to do, Brave Bird everything, killing the Conkeldurr. Now Starmie comes back in, and I know he's going to go for the Rapid Spin, so I switch out into my Tentacruel and go for the Toxic. I know the Starmie has Natural Cure, but he is going to stay in to Thunderbolt my Tentacruel, because that's always a pain to take down. I predict a Thunderbolt again, and I go into my Dugtrio. Now the Starmie can't switch out, so it has to go for a Water move, I hope. If he went for the Ice Beam, my Shaman would have been 2-hit KO'd, so that would have been bad. Now I go for the Seed Flare, but he switches in his Volcarona. A very pro move, but I predict the Quiver Dance to follow. I switch into Dugtrio. If he didn't went for Quiver Dance, I still would have had my Sash, and then I would have been faster than the Volcaronas, so Stone Edge would have taken him out anyways. Now Gliscor comes in after I kill the Starmie, and I go into my Skarmory because Gliscor can't do a thing against it. He does get the freeze, which actually is kind of funny, but it won't matter too much because, yeah, it's a Gliscor. Now, the tricky part about this is that he only has his Gliscor and his Jirachi left. If I do kill his Jirachi, I won't be able to stop his Gliscor if I don't have the right Pokemon on the field at that point. Gliscor can 2-hit KO my entire team, can 1-hit KO my entire team after a Swords Dance even, with Earthquake, or with Ice Fang. That ain't good. and so I want my Politoed to be at full health, and yeah, that's the thing I was going for actually. If I was smarter, I would have saved my Shaman as well, but I didn't thought about that. I could have rested up, but I just didn't thought about it. And now that my Polito is at full health, I'm going to try and take that Gliscor down. But the thing is, he always has that Gliscor on the field at the wrong time for me. Um, if Gliscor can set up, it's all over, so I need to be very careful with it, and I need to preserve my Politoed. My Tentacruel could take down the Gliscor, but only if it's one-on-one, and it has to be on the field at that point. Tentacruel, most of the time I'm faster than Gliscor because I have a timid Tentacruel, and yeah, Scald is a 2-hit KO. It just won't one-hit KO that Gliscor, and that's really a problem actually. Here I make a dumb move. I go into Tentacruel trying to burn the Jirachi, but he T-waves my Tentacruel, so now I'm slower than the Gliscor. So at this point, Tentacruel can't do a thing anymore against Gliscor. So yeah, but I see this Iron Head, and it doesn't do a thing to my Tentacruel, literally after Rain Dish and Black Sludge recovery. So I just keep going for the Scald, trying to kill the Jirachi. At least burn it. Now he switches out into Gliscor. I predict that nicely. Go with a U-turn through my Politoed. And he's just going to protect to stall a turn. I don't know why. We're already in turn 58 at this point, and I'm going to Ice Beam the Jirachi. Doesn't do a thing. Of course the burn is going to help, so that's good. And at this point he's going to Wish Protect. Now here's the thing that he shouldn't have done. He switches out into his Gliscor, hoping for a Parahex on my side, I guess, but I don't get it, and the Scald is going to bring him really low. He's going to Earthquake, but my Tentacruel is going to survive that because of the defense EVs that I gave him, so that's all really good. Now, he's going to run after I kill this Gliscor. I can't really say that it wasn't over because his Jirachi couldn't do a thing. It was very brave for him to know that he had lost. Now for the second battle, it's against someone else from my group, Swadner, also known on YouTube as Wonder55225. Link will be in the description. You can also look at it and subscribe on his channel, but subscribe to me first, of course. I don't know if Auron had a channel, so if somebody knows that, please give a comment in the comments. Now for the second team preview then. I see his team and I'm like, what the fuck? Two Sand Streamers, Tyranitar and Hippodon. This is going to be such a hard battle for my Politoed. Now, I also see he has pretty much a wallish team. Blizzy, Slowbro, Hitmontop, Skarmory, they are all walls. Tyranitar can Fundate as a wall, and Hippo is also a wall. So I'm definitely thinking it's a stall team. I don't know what he's going to begin with, but I'm just going. I was hoping he would start with Hippowdon, so I'm going to start with my Shaman. At this point, let's start that battle. But he starts with Blizzy, really bad, so I'm going to switch out him into my Politoed, knowing that I can take anything that the Blizzy wants. I go immediately into Jirachi because I predict some kind of switch, the Hippo or the Tyranitar. He doesn't switch, just attacks, and I do get the switch initiative on my Jirachi. I mostly get it because every time he switches in his Hippowdon, I go for the U-turn, trying to get that initiative. I predict wrong 2 times, I think, but that doesn't really matter. The fact is, he has 2 weather inducers, so I need to be really careful. Most of my moves are just done to frustrate him, to let the Blizzy take up some heal bells or something, soft boils, that the PP is gone. Because eventually I know that Blizzy is going to be the hardest thing to take down, because I don't have a real counter for it, because even when my Dugtrio is at 1 HP, reversal will only do like 70% or something maximum if it isn't a defensive Blizzy, but just a special defensive one. But for now I'm going to repeat most of my moves exactly the same. When I have a lot of pokes that are burnt or toxic, I'm going to use Aromatherapy with my Shaman, and if I don't have them, I'm going to Seed Flare. This this will confuse my opponent eventually, and I hope that he makes a mistake because of it. It's really hard because he has two weather inducers. I need to watch out with my Politoed, and like you can see here, I believe that this is one of the two times that I predict wrong. I go for the Thunder trying to paralyze a Slowbro or get a huge number on it, but it doesn't really matter because I can switch in my Shaman on the Earthquake. Doesn't do too much because I had some Pokemon that are status. I did go for the Aromatherapy here, and here I just went for the Seed Flare trying to get some special defense drop on the Blizzy, but I noticed that I shouldn't have done that because it cost me 1 PP from Seed Flare, and I only can use it 8 times, so I need to be careful with that. Now I go into Jirachi again, and I believe I go for the Wish here. Yep, I go for the Wish. Because Skarmory is low on health, and I go into it, but Hippowdon uses Roar, so Dugtrio, it was already at full health, so it doesn't really matter. And here I go for the Aromatherapy again, because some of my pokes are saddest. And now he's beginning to think that I just Aromatherapy on the Hippo, because he can't do anything to me, and that will be very beneficial for me. At this point, Rapid Spin to get those annoying Stealth Rocks away, so he has to switch in his Hippo eventually, and that will be the time that I try to kill it. I hope it will work, but yeah, the same thing happens all over again. My pokes get statused, his pokes get statused. He uses Heal Bell to get rid of it, and here I again use U-turn to get my switch initiative, and here he indeed predicts me to go for the Aromatherapy because I have a Burn Tentacruel and a Poisoned Politoed. So his Hippo is gone now, and that's so beneficial for me. Can't believe it. Now I go for the Toxic on the T-Tar, and I go for the rest because I predict Pursuit, but he goes for the Crunch, a very good move. And now I'm going to switch out because I want to save my Politoed because the sand is up at this point. I switched the Politoed back in. If he killed it, it wouldn't matter because then I could have switched in my Dugtrio, trapping the T-Tar, and then I could KO it, and my weather would be, and my rain would be up anyways. So it's all good. But he switched out, so I have to switch out again, and now it's just the same thing actually. Just stalling, trying to wait so he makes a mistake somewhere. It's just Wish with my Jirachi, switching to something else, hoping that it won't get killed or something, and eventually I'll just have to wait once more. But that Blizzy is really hanging it out for me. I do get the Paralyze, and he wants to save his Blizzy, don't want to get flinched to death, and that's actually my victory at that point, because he switches in his T-Tar on an Iron Head and it gets killed. His Hitmontop comes in. I don't want Polito to get killed by something because I know he would predict that, so I switch into Skarmory and then switch into Politoed, which it worked out really well for me. And at this point it's actually going to be over because he has 4 walls, but what can 4 walls begin against a team that has a Shaman with Aromatherapy and a Jirachi with Wish? They support each other so good. Now we keep on going, and we see that Slowbro, I actually was thinking maybe it has Psychic or something, but it didn't, and he just kept Ice Beaming. I believe it has Slack Off, Ice Beam, Flamethrower, and Scald or something. Now, I don't actually care because the Slowbro isn't doing anything to me. My Jirachi walls like 3 of his guys, so it doesn't really matter. Now he has a Skarmory on the field, and I go for a Scald to kill the Skarmory, and I do kill it in 2 times. Now, his entry hazards don't mean anything to me, and I go for a Rapid Spin, spitting them away like it should. And at this point, his Hitmontop, he just wants. I think he has given up at this point. But yeah, I don't know that at that point. So I'm just trying to. I think he was switched here, but he doesn't, and he just goes for the close combat, and he almost kills my Skarmory. That wasn't sturdy. Just to make sure, that wasn't sturdy. I lived with 6 HP or something, I believe. So I now switch into my Tentacle, predicting the Mach Punch, killing the Hitmontop. Now he only has his Blizzy and the Slowbro left, and eventually those two won't stand a chance because Blizzy didn't do anything actually against me. It only frustrated me throughout the battle. I mean, I think it used Flamethrower, and in 60% of the time he got a burn. That's actually a pretty good thing to do, but he got more burns with Flamethrower than he got with Scald. You see that here. Now he Scalds, and he gets his first burn with Scald. He already got like 10 or 15 burns with Flamethrower from Blizzy. I believe he also got one burn from his Slowbro. Really funny actually if you think about it, but yeah. Okay, now he only has his Blizzy left, and the only thing that stops me from killing it is the fact that he still has heal bells. So I'm trying to get him to use as many heal bells, so his 8 heal bells are up. Now, I should have realized that I should only Toxic the Blizzy, but I didn't. So here I went for the Thunder. The Blizzy got paralyzed, and if he would have been smarter, he wouldn't have used Heal Bell, because the Paralyze is annoying for him because I have Jirachi on the field, but I can't constantly use that Paraflinge because I'll have to get it like 4 or 5 times, and the chances of that is really slow. If he gets off one stuff boiled, everything is screwed actually, and the Jirachi doesn't get any Iron Heads then anymore. So at that point that would be really bad for me. Now, what I'm trying to do here is, because his Blizzy is the last poke, I'm just going to Seed Flare it to get as much special defense drops as I can, and eventually this is all I get. 1 special defense drop from 3 or 4 Seed Flares, I think. It ain't bad. It's actually bad, but I don't really care, because at this point his heal bells are up, and I'm like, no, don't paralyze, don't paralyze. I almost forgot it. So now I go to Tentacle, Toxic Hip, go back to Jirachi, and start Iron Heading to flinch him, and that will actually be the game at that point. 6-0, it's not a really close battle, but yeah, you know. If something goes wrong, you can always be 6-0'd, especially when facing a team that has something against things like Toxic or Burn or anything. It just happens to be like that. That were my 2 games. Comment, rate, subscribe, give a like, put those thumbs up. It helps the video to get noticed. I'll be posting the last battle from the preliminaries really quick. And yeah, see you the next time. Deuces.